My name's Charlie. I am Operations Director for CLPM. We're a small construction consultancy trying to take your construction stress and just smooth it out and make it all plain sailing. We have three little divisions. We have an energy division which looks to limit your expenditure on energy usage, balance that against any capital expenditure that you're looking to undertake. We have a quantity surveying division. Anything to do with numbers, budgeting or procurement issues, that goes through our quantity surveying division. And we have the bit that I head up, which is the project management division, which is the on-site side of things, making sure that you get on-site what it is that you expected to get for the time that you expected it and for the price that you hope to pay for it. Wouldn't it be lovely if you didn't have to deal with the builders? So I'm just today going to look forward a little bit to see whether there are any changes coming around the corner that might make things a little bit easier than they are at present. If you look at a couple of other industries, let's take telephones. Yeah, when Alexander Graham Bell invented telephone, it looked something like this in 1876, and today we have something that looks like this if you're a Google Glass user. It bears no resemblance whatsoever to the original technology. Car production. I think this is the Daimler plant in 1900, and this is Tesla in 2017. Just chalk and cheese. How about construction? Well, this is bricklaying in 1325. This is bricklaying in 1820. This is bricklaying in 1939. This is bricklaying in 2017. Spot the difference. This is Marwell Zoo. Yeah, quite rightly, a lot of people think that builders are thick because we're doing stuff in the same way that we have been doing it for hundreds of years. It's not rocket science, it's very, very basic. Let's change tack a minute. There are changes going on within the country that we all know about at present. This is our current, the top slide here is our current workload, and the bottom slide is taking out all the jobs which are run by non-UK based organisations. Okay? So we lose just over a third of the sites that we're currently working on. Now that's mainly domestic. We do mainly domestic projects, not solely, but mainly. It's wrong to think of this. I'm not saying that we're going to stop people coming in. We've actually got a number of Eastern European construction companies who are saying to us, it's just too unstable here at the moment. We don't know if we're wanted. We're going to go and work in Germany. All right? So there is a positive drive from the guys who are already here, who are mobile, because that's why they came to the UK in the first place, looking for work. They're just saying, well, you go off and look for somewhere else. So regardless of whether we actually want them, some of them don't actually want to be here at the moment. We've got a backlog. Trying to book a brickie or a carpenter is probably on a 6-month lead-in at the moment. If we lose a third of our workforce, I'm not quite sure where we're going to go. So we have a reasonably backward industry that is about to have potentially a reasonable shortage of labour. So I see that as a huge opportunity to change the industry, coupled with a necessity to do something, and that's going to lead, I think, to significant changes finally within the construction industry. If you then think that changes, the amount of waste that a construction industry site suffers at the moment is just drives you bananas. All the interfaces that we have between all the trades and all the materials, and the coordination that it requires to make sure that all of those interfaces are successful and one trade passes on to another and the building actually gets done correctly. Huge amount of different trade operations on site. And then you've got the health and safety side of things with all these different people trying to do lots of different things, and the HSE quite rightly cracking down on domestic sites now, having had a go at commercial sites over the last 10 years or so. So where are we heading? So I see that there are at least two potential solutions. One is a sort of automated solution. And here you've got drones building a block structure.
Is this the future of construction? A flying robot building a wall. The demonstration took place in Orléans in France in front of an audience. It's believed to be the first such installation built this way. The robot's developers were led by Professor Raffaello D'Andrea of the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich. He says the multicopters use motion sensors to position themselves, but still have to avoid each other while picking up and placing the bricks in exactly the right place.
All of this has to be done robustly. It's not just about making a video. You know, here we're doing a live performance in front of hundreds of people over a period of 3 days. The system has to work. It has to be such that the technology is just transparent to you. You just see these vehicles fly, and it should seem like magic.
The multicopters recharged while waiting to be tasked. They would then pick up a foam brick, each weighing 500 grams, and place it exactly where instructed by a control program known as the foreman.
It takes off, and it flies over to pick up a brick. It makes sure that other vehicles that are flying with bricks are not in its way, so it stays out of the way until it feels that it can move into the space. Similar to when you're driving a car and you want to go into the freeway. Of course, this is fully autonomous.
The concept was devised by Swiss architects Gramazio and Kohler to develop a pioneering approach to design and construction. Matthias Kohler believes such a radical approach will allow designers more freedom.
I think it changes the culture of how we think about building a building, and thus changes the culture of designing architecture. That's why we're researching these technologies. We're not so much interested in automation, just more efficiency, but also the kind of, let's say, poetic aspects that develop through those ways of building, which you couldn't do in a traditional current building practice.
And this is far from traditional, but whether it takes off as future standard practice or is simply a flight of fancy remains to be seen. Georgina Cooper, Reuters.
So, not sure what the CIS implication is for drones, but I suspect it's pretty good. The drones obviously not only have to think about the positioning of each of the bricks, but they have to think about the positioning of each other, because you don't want them flying into each other. So that's all programmed, that's all capable of doing now. Another potential automated solution is a scaling up of 3D printing. 3D printing exists in China, but what they're doing at the moment is sort of prefabrication of panels, and you then clip the panel systems together. Whereas in the States, over in on the West Coast, you've got a university that is just scaling up the 3D printer.
Scientists claim to have developed a revolutionary new giant 3D concrete printer that can build a 2,500 square foot house in just 24 hours. The 3D printer developed by Professor Baruch Hoshneves from the University of Southern California could be used to build a whole house, layer by layer, in a single day. The giant robot replaces construction workers with a nozzle on a gantry, which squirts out concrete and can quickly build a home based on a computer pattern, MSN News reported. It is, basically scaling up 3D printing to the scale of building, said Hoshneves. Contour crafting is a layered fabrication technology and has great potential for automating the construction of whole structures as well as subcomponents, according to the project website. Using this process, a single house or a colony of houses, each with possibly a different design, may be automatically constructed in a single run, embedded in each house all the conduits for electrical, plumbing and air conditioning. The potential applications of this technology are far-reaching, including in emergency, low-income, and commercial housing.
At the moment, this is printing in concrete. Okay, so little layers of concrete just going round and round, and by the time it comes round to that same spot on the house again, the concrete's gone off, so it can put the next layer on top. In Holland, you've got a bridge that's just been built over one of the canals that's been welded out of metal. A little robot just sits there melting melting the metal and putting it into place, and it's built it as the robot goes over the canal. Okay, so where I think we're heading is life gets really exciting when you put the two print heads together. So if you can have your concrete print head and alongside it your metal print head, then you can print your electric circuits for your power whilst you're printing your building, and you can put your cutlery in your cutlery drawer whilst you build your kitchen. Yeah. And this is a few years off, but it's not far away. And if you think about self-drive vehicles, they're in the news all the time now. We know they're coming, it's just a question of when. This 3D printing at the moment to me is a little bit under the radar at the moment, but with the vehicles, think about, you might think, well, I don't want to drive a 3D vehicle, a self-driving vehicle. You're not going to get any choice. Yeah? Think about the cost saving when we don't have to have any streetlights, when we don't have to have any central reservations, when we don't have to have any signage. Yeah? When the roads actually only need to be as wide as a tyre. Yeah? You're going to be forced to, whether you like it, as this industry picks up, you will have no choice. And I suspect the same is going to be true of construction, because from a tax point of view, you've got one person loading the machine, and it's all then automated, it's working 24 hours. The insurance companies are going to love it, because the chance of having an accident here is negligible, certainly to individuals. There will be eventually no choice about how we carry on building. An alternative to automated is prefabricated. Now, a degree of prefabrication has existed for quite a long time. You've got porta cabins and those sorts of things. Again, apologies, there should be a video of a house that we've put up, two-storey house, prefabricated units, basically putting 6 blocks and there's your house. What's getting exciting now is that these units very shortly will be completely finished on the inside. Yeah? So all the conduits, all the ducting for all the services are in there. The toilets, the tiling, the painting is all done on the inside. So all you've got to do is drop the boxes together. Something that hotels have used for a while, pods inserting into their bathrooms. Well, it's coming into regular domestic market. We have a site coming in Wales where we're building 70 houses for a timber frame company. And the first thing we're doing is building a factory on the site to build these units, and then we load them onto a low loader, we drive the house out to its plot, and we dump it on its plot. Job done. Okay? All we've then got to do is put a bit of cladding around it. It's already waterproof. The black layer here is waterproofing. So all we've got to do is clad it and put a roof on it and put the sign up. Where I want to just leave you is where that's going to leave us in the industry. Because the systems, the 3D printing or the automation or the prefabrication are going to be owned by somebody. Okay? And you're going to have potentially some major players owning a huge part of the construction industry. I think there's going to be a lot of disruption to the existing players, but eventually, over a period of time, these systems, superior systems will evolve, and they're going to be owned by somebody. There is an alternative. It's another organisation that we're currently working with called WikiHouse, and this is an open source design system. It runs on Linux. Again, apologies, you should have the video. If you're interested, I'll get you the links afterwards. But basically, there are open source designs, and you can go and pick a template and you then resize it how you want, and it's counting up the amount of materials that you need for your particular house. And it's all made out of ply. And when you've got the shape that you like, you say, I want one of those, and it produces a cutting list in that ply. And it sends it to your local CNC cutting workshop, who then automatically cut it, and it ships it to site. And what you get to site is an Airfix model. You remember the Airfix models with the bits of plastic that you pop out and then glue together? Well, it's exactly the same in timber. You get your sheets of ply, ready cut, you pop the pieces out and you clip it together. No glue, no, just an IKEA set of instructions, and anybody can put it together. And there's a whole bunch of architects working on interesting open source designs for anybody to then pay a small premium to download the house that they want. So if you like disruption and open source and freedom of information, support WikiHouse. If you're free marketeers and we like a standard type economy, then pick your backers and see which system is going to emerge. But there are changes coming in construction. I think finally we're going to get some differences to how we're working, and life, I suspect, within the next 10, 15 years is going to begin to be very different on the construction side. Thank you.